Hi everybody, I'm Justin Murphy, education reporter at the D&C, and I'm here with my colleagues today to talk about some of the Watchdog work that we did in 2016. Sean Lahman is our database investigative specialist. Patti Singer is our health reporter. And that's something, as you guys know, every single day when we come in, we are always wanting to know, and our editors are always wanting to know, how can we go deeper on this stuff? And that's something we take a lot of pride in. So kind of what we're thinking about talking about today is important stuff that we've accomplished in 2016, stories that we've uncovered, service that we've done for the community. Sean, what do you think are some of the top ones that come to mind?
You know, I think one of the big issues in our community this year has been the heroin crisis. And we've done a lot of coverage of the opioid issue as a public health issue, as a criminal issue, and just the impact that's having on our community. And I think it's not so much one story where we've been looking at that issue, but a series of stories throughout the year where we've tried to reflect what's happening in the community and also to have an impact on what's going on. Another good example of that kind of deep coverage is the work that Gary Craig, our colleague, has done on the effort to identify the body of a young girl found in Livingston County, Tammy Jo, which he told the story of how that investigation unfolded and eventually the identification of that young girl and reuniting her with her family.
Yeah, that was a good example of using alternative story form too, I think, beyond just what we normally do. Patti, the first thing that Sean said about the Watchdog work being an ongoing process, that's something that we've talked about before, that it doesn't always just have to be something that lands in a big Sunday package. Stuff that we do every day is Watchdog in terms of discovering information for the community.
I think discovering information and also explaining everyday events in a way that's meaningful for people. I mean, I think our colleague Todd Clausen did that today with the War Memorial story about this, just a marquee, but then he goes into, well, why do we really need this, the renovation, the money going in there? What is it going to do? And that may be our tax money involved in that. So that's just, I think, an example of the routine watchdog work that we do, just as a matter of course every day. I don't know that we always call it watchdog. It's how are we going to tell the story in the way that's going to be the most meaningful to our readers, to our audience, wherever they find our information. How is this going to give them information to have discussions, to make decisions, and to just lead their lives in a much more informed way?
Yeah. The thing I think about is there's the reporting we do, but on a certain level, we can only work with what we're given in terms of public documents. If we have something available, we use it. If it's not available, then technically we're stuck. But I think that a really important thing that we've done this year, that's an important part of our work, is having gone to fight for some of those documents. We put in requests for documents every single day. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't, sometimes we have fights about it. But in two instances this year, we really brought to light information that our local governmental agencies have been trying to keep hidden. The first was with the zombie properties in Irondequoit. The town had a database of broken down, foreclosed upon properties that were a public nuisance that they didn't want to share, and we made them share it. And then more recently, after Bill Noj died, we not only went to court and got the criminal complaint alleging describing the improprieties that he was allegedly involved with, but I think it's easy to maybe overlook that the only reason we knew that there might be a document there that would be worth fighting about was through the reporting that Gary Craig and Steve Orr, two of our best investigative reporters, had done in the first place to find out that he was involved in some things and there might be something coming down the pipeline. Because if it weren't for that, we'd just say, boy, what a sad story. Bill Noj died.
And that's where I think an important element of watchdog reporting is sticking with the story over time, even when there's nothing to report that day. The zombie property issue, for example, Megan McDermott was doing some reporting on that. She knew that this list of abandoned homes existed, and I think maybe other reporters might have given up or thrown up their hands when the town said you can't have that list. But instead, she came back to her editor and we decided to take them to court and eventually did prevail, requiring the town to turn over that information. The same thing with the Noj case. It was a court battle over whether or not those documents should be unsealed. Ultimately, we prevailed. But again, that's a long process, it's an expensive process, and I think it's just one or two examples of the kind of investment that we're making in ways that don't necessarily show up in the paper right away, that don't show up as stories or bylines, maybe for months.
Yeah.
But those are the things also that can make us very unpopular in the community. If you look at Facebook comments, I think on, especially on some of the responses with the No-J, there are a lot of responses of, let it lay, he's gone, why are you digging this up? Well, the easy answer is to say, well, it's our job, but it's up to the readers to make the decision whether or not they want that information and then how to act on it, but they need that information to make an informed decision. So sometimes what we do is not popular, but it is ultimately in the best interest of the community.
And sometimes we dig into things, dig into documents, and it doesn't turn out that there's a big story lurking under there. There's no scandal, there's no misdeeds, but it's from doing that kind of work that these stories emerge.
Yeah. And every single week we have meetings where we hash out the plans that we have, the things that we're looking into. We've already got a pretty well-developed plan, I think, for the first quarter of 2017. So we might be back at this table same time next year talking about what we did then. In the meantime, we have a story and a video up of highlighting our work from 2016. We hope you'll look at that, and we hope you'll stay on DemocratandChronicle.com to see what's coming in the new year.